Hello, Chronoholics. Welcome back to another episode of Dive Into the Industry. Today we have Robin Tallendier, one of the owners, founders of Atelier Wen. Hi, Robin. How are you doing?
Hi, Karen. I'm doing very well. Thanks a lot for having me.
Absolutely, my pleasure. And this reminds me of the time in 2023 when we sat down about this time. In fact, in November, 2 years back,
Yep.
when you visited India for the first time and you presented the Perception collection. So, in the meantime, especially in 2025, you brought out two. One was the Ancestra,
Yes.
and now the Inflection.
No.
Tell me about the Ancestra. How did that come about?
2025 was a really busy year in terms of release. We had Perception since 2022, and then no new collections, and then suddenly you have two new collections. Ancestra, the project was on since 2022 as well. It evolved a lot. In all transparency, initially our goal was that because in 2023 it would have been the 5th year of the brand, we had this idea that we could make a watch for our 5th year anniversary, and our idea was to make kind of like a dressy watch,
Sure.
but that would be really high end and made in very small number.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started working on a dressy watch.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out, for a lot of reasons, the really high-end segment component of the project was not really viable. We wanted to collaborate with an independent watchmaker, but it didn't really work out.
Sure.
So we had this dressy case that took a lot of time to develop, but still that was there. And then we were like, oh, what do we do with it? And I think we were in 2024, and we're like, well, why don't we just make that our dressy release? Because we always had the goal to widen the range of watches. We don't want just to be making sports watches, integrated bracelet watches. We thought we needed something very different, different aesthetic, maybe for different people as well. And that case, I think, was quite fitting to make that dressy watch. We did spend a lot of time on the dial. Our first goal was to release it around Chinese New Year 2024. 2025. We released it in August 2025. So you can see it took a really long time. But in the end, we knew we wanted to do enamel because that's such a big part of the craftsmanship landscape in China. In the end, we decided to go for like a very deep blue gradient enamel dial, which is meant to be reminiscent of the water, and that has like particular meaning because the whole case is inspired by the ancient dragon carvings, which were said to be living in the water. So this is really a watch that pays homage to the origin of Chinese culture, the Hongshan era, which is like Neolithic era in China, and that's the whole thinking of the watch and the story of it.
Lovely. And that's in titanium, you said?
It's in steel.
It's in steel.
It's very light. It's very light, but it's in steel. 904L stainless steel. Our sort of like default choice.
You've made. I think you continued with 904L steel with.
Yeah.
Lovely. And this movement, this watch is very special because it was a collaboration for the movement with Pequenet, right?
Yeah, with Pequenet. So that also that was we didn't know we would be doing that at the beginning. Everything happened very gradually, very organically. But we realized that, this enamel craft is definitely not cheap. And we wanted to upgrade the movement. We wanted to give more power reserve, maybe more accuracy, maybe a better auto winding. Not that there's anything wrong with perception movement, but we thought, the price is almost doubling, so let's try to up things, know. And we tried to do that in China, but we couldn't do it because like the availability of the right alloys for the barrel, for the spirals, those are not there yet. So we went to look outside of China, but we didn't want to go for like the standard movement makers. So we didn't want to go for Seiko, Miyota, ETA, Salita, La Chouperet, and whatnot. And also, this is a watch that was meant to be accessible, so we couldn't go for Vaucher, Chrono. There was no budget for that. And we stumbled upon Pequenet, and we like them because they are French. We're French, and it's the true embodiment of Paris meets Beijing, which is our brand like motto and tagline. So we like that. But also, we like them because they're very honest and very true about their watchmaking approach. What they did is not a clone of of like an existing movement. It would have been super easy and commercially more sound to do that, but still they decided to develop their own thing with their own standards, with their own technologies. They have a lot of patents for that movement. 100% of the parts are made within a 40 kilometers radius of the manufacturer.
Wow.
70 are made in France. It's all homegrown engineering. And when I met them, I thought, oh, they are really candid, you know, in a nice way. They really care about watchmaking a lot. They are not there to make a quick buck. And I was drawn to that. And it's also a really good movement. So we decided to work with them. But the thing is that, you know, it's a French movement. I still wanted the Chinese culture celebration aspect of things to be visible. And that's why we work with our designer, Alfred, in Hong Kong, to change the appearance of the movement. And that's a movement on which, on the base plate, we laser etch 446 Chinese characters, which are an extract from an old piece of Chinese poetry about the meaning of life called Tianwen, which we thought was very cool.
That's pretty cool. And isn't that the perfect amalgamation of the East meets West culture? Yeah?
Exactly. No, that's very well said. It's exactly this.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So now that Ancestra is done, you did a nice blue dial, but you've also released, just teased, in fact, the edition with Revolution.
Which is just there, actually. We released it yesterday. It's a pretty cool watch. It has been in the work also for quite some time, but the idea was that we really wanted to do something for Dubai Watch Week. I mean, Dubai Watch Week for us, it may sound like cheesy, but you know, it's a big step up. Like we've never done a fair like that. I think in terms of how the brand is evolving, that's a great milestone. So we wanted to do something to celebrate this. We also realized that the Middle East as a market is growing a lot. And it's also the 20th years anniversary of Revolution. So that we thought, you know, it's the right moment to do something. And so we kept the case, we kept the idea of using enamel, but what we did is that instead of having hand hammering, you have hand gratte. So you have the craftsman that comes and scratches the dial with a lot of lines, and then you have grand feu enamel with a gradient of brown. And gratte is pretty cool because it really gives a shimmering effect, which is very nice.
So every dial will be unique then?
Yeah, every dial is unique.
And how many pieces are you making for this?
I don't know yet. It depends on how many Revolution sells. But I guess a few, not too many. I mean, it's a more niche edition. You have Eastern Arabic numerals, like Hindu numerals, and still the diamond baguettes, which I think are a cool element of this watch.
Absolutely. I think the diamond baguettes kind of made it all the more special.
Yeah, they did. They did.
I think you've done a very bang-up job of making this edition as well. Any more Ancestra pieces coming up in the future?
Yeah, there will be. Not right now, but I think our goal is really to have Ancestra as one of our mainstay collections. So it's not just a one-off. It's meant to stay there. We'll have some other collabs for next year. We will also have eventually like a core non-limited Ancestra.
That will be pretty cool, actually. Because I mean, for all its reasons, perception was always supposed to be limited. It was. I mean, you kind of made it into a more accessible watch that was available in production and still is. I mean,
still is.
But it attained cult status. It didn't.
Thank you.
And people always still think that, you know, even the regular releases like the Shia or the Ying, they are still pretty much not available, and you know they're rare. But yeah, I think more Ancestra models would be very nice as well in the future.
Thank you.
Before we come to the inflection, the first time at Dubai Watch Week, how's your experience been so far?
Tiring. No, it's great. I think I'm really surprised by the overall level of execution of the show. Maybe I don't have the right benchmarks, but my benchmarks are the Beau Rivage in Geneva, and it's basically a table in a hotel hallway, and this, which is insanely professional, insanely neat, is just very pretty. There's a lot of F&B's options, music and stuff. Honestly, they did a great job. I can see why people were telling me you have to be at Dubai Watch Week. It's really cool. And a lot of people, of course, which is the best.
Absolutely.
Really keen collectors. People I've met in the US, actually, met in Europe. Everyone's coming here, so it's really cool.
No, it is one of the greatest fairs in the watch industry, so it's only natural that it pulls in the best of the best. Do you have a sizable customer base in the Middle East?
Yeah, it's growing. It's growing more and more. Definitely, I think it's one of the market that grows the fastest for us. So I think we need to keep on pushing. Dubai a lot, but Saudi a lot. I think those are the two big ones.
No, it makes sense. And then that actually brings me to the kind of the white elephant on the table. It's amazing. A full tantalum watch. It's pretty accessible right now. I mean, sure, limited numbers. I totally get it. But was it totally to meet the demand of your fan base that there should be?
Oh no, there was no demand. It was just my demand. No, I think the story is that back in 2022, when we released Perception and we saw there was traction with Perception, we had this idea that it would be great to have the equivalent of like a concept car in the range, to show what the brand is capable of. And we really like structured the project like component per component. We're like, okay, we'll need the best movement, the best craft, the best material, and the sort of. Initially, we were like, oh, we're gonna make a Perception in gold. That was the easy answer. But then we saw them. We're like, gold is a prestigious metal, but there's nothing special about it. Everyone makes gold watches. And then I had the idea of tantalum. I was like, why don't we make it in tantalum? I was personally attracted to tantalum. I wanted a tantalum watch. And what really motivated me though was that back then no one had done a full tantalum bracelet. And I was like, I want to be the first to do that, because if I can be the first to do that, then it really gives us an opportunity, like to stand apart.
Absolutely.
And to stand apart in something where every big brand sort of like has kind of an interest in it. It's not you don't stand apart in something irrelevant. You don't stand apart in being, we are the brand that used the most whatever jade carving on the dial. Like it's not a benchmark that interests people. But tantalum, I know many brands try to do it. Moser tried to do bracelets, they failed. AP never did the full tantalum bracelet. So I thought, that could be something, and that can really elevate us. We were not the first one to make the full tantalum bracelet. Joan did the very first one for Only Watch, and Louis Vuitton as a piece unique. We were the third with the two purple Perception prototypes for Watches and Wonders 2024. But we are the first ones to sell on like an unlimited basis, like a bracelet full tantalum watch. And this I'm very, very happy with. Why do I like tantalum? The weight. I like heavy watches. I mean, I'm sure you do as well. The color is darker. It's quite cool. I love platinum, but it's too light. This is blue-gray, which is super nice. And then just knowing that it's not something that you can do. Even if as a brand you have a lot of budget, well, in Switzerland you just cannot do it.
Absolutely.
It's not like platinum or white gold. You pay, it's done. This no. So I kind of like that.
What you guys are going to do is probably start getting the world to sit up and take notice and qualify tantalum as a precious metal, just because you guys are working so well with it. But then tantalum is very difficult to work with, isn't it?
It's very difficult. It's very hard to tool and machine because the metal gets sticky once you try to do it, and so then it kind of wraps around the tooling and it destroys it. And this is what's costly, because those like end mills of the machine, like they can be worth hundreds of dollars. It's like diamond coated drills that are really expensive. So if you break so many of them, it's not cheap. What's particularly hard with this watch, so I mean, besides the finishing scheme on the bracelet, drilling all the holes, this is really, really complex. And you cannot cast that. You need to do it with the machine. So that's really, really is hard. The other thing is the overall finishing scheme. You can see there's a lot of polishing, polishing is the hardest.
Hardest with tantalum, exactly.
And we didn't shy away from polishing. We were like,
there's liberal polishing on the
we were like, we're not gonna just do like an accent of polishing. We went like full on. We could have made it easier, but we made it harder just to show that we can.
Okay, this is a heavy watch. And then you guys did, the clasp is in steel though.
Clasp is in steel, but the clasp shell, this is tantalum, the button tantalum, lateral pushers tantalum, crown tantalum.
Lovely. What about the case back? That's in steel though.
Tantalum as well.
Oh wow, that's fantastic.
Except the screws, which are steel. But you can see the shade difference between the screws
and then what prompted the Girard-Perregaux movement collaboration?
Again, it was a long reflection. We didn't know what tantalum would cost. So, but then when we started getting quotes, we were like, there's no way we will put the same movement as Perception in there, because people otherwise are going to be
Absolutely.
somewhat feeling there's a gap between the movement and the rest of the watch.
That's right.
So we wanted the higher end movement that we couldn't do in China. Then we went to Switzerland, but there's not that many options for higher end movements.
Yeah.
We didn't want to go for Chronoholic because it is too thick, Schwarz-Etienne too thick, Cercle des Horlogers too expensive, and I'm not so sure about reliability. Basically, we thought we would go for Vaucher, but you know, Vaucher, you need to be vetted by the foundation, it's complex.
Okay.
And Wilfried was in Singapore for IM Watch, and he met Max Busser. And I think he wanted to meet Max to ask him for referral to be vetted by Vaucher.
Right.
And Max was like, oh, why don't you work with GP? And we didn't even know GP sells movements to third parties. They sell to very few. They sell to MBNF. In the past, they used to sell to Vacheron, to Piaget, to Gerald Genta, Daniel Roth and stuff. Not anymore. And so Max put us in touch with Patrick. We had a chat with Patrick. Patrick was excited. Then I started chatting with the GP team. Then I went to Switzerland and we got started. And it took some time because the first thing they told us was, okay, we'll supply you movement, but it needs to be your own design. And I was like, oh, that's really cool, because to me, that's my goal. I don't want to use like the stock version of the 3300. I want something that's meaningful for us.
Absolutely.
And our designer, along with another designer called Sidwan, they worked on like redesigning all the bridges, the finishing scheme, the rotor, everything, so that it's ours and so that you can see the Chinese culture through the design work and the finishing work.
Lovely. Because, honestly, this watch is like you said, a concept car for your brand.
Yeah.
It really is. It proves what you can do. It sets you apart. But then only 100 pieces, 33, 33, 33?
No, 30 green, and then black and blue, it depends on demand. I have to say the black is more popular than the blue, so I expect there will be more black than blue.
More black than blue? Very nice. So you're talking about, I guess, about 150, 200 pieces altogether?
No, 100. 100. Full stop.
Wow.
Second year we'll see, but we're also limited by what we can produce. It's not an easy watch to make.
Right.
So we need to see also what's the state of the manufacturing and how we can potentially make more.
Sure.
But right now 100 is already a challenge.
But then have you sold out all 100 already?
More or less.
More or less. That's wonderful to know.
There's a few that we set aside for some retailers, a few that we set aside, I don't know, what if John Mayer comes tomorrow and is like, oh, I want one. And then we're like, sorry, you have to wait 2 years. No. I don't think John Mayer will come. But, sometimes...
Never say never.
Never say never. I think he's around at AP, so never say never. But sometimes, I don't know, there are things where you may need to be able to sell a watch. So we decided not to sell everything so that we have this bit of buffer.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But then look, the watch is great. And tantalum is great, but then you can't keep selling tantalum watches, right? You can't make more of them, and you can't keep, making too many tantalum watches, because then that'll dilute this watch.
So my idea is to keep the yearly volume, more or less, just say make 100 every year.
Okay, so it'll be a continuous thing, but not that limited either. So
but just 100 per year.
That's pretty cool. Okay. That's nice.
And maybe I introduce new colors, and then new enamels, new stuff.
Because this is a great canvas for collaborative editions with, for example, Revolution. You may want to touch upon this as well.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm sensing I'm kind of close to the truth there.
Who knows?
I'm going to read between the lines.
Maybe you'll see in a few months.
Yeah, but then this will not come in a Nano 4L steel case. No, not at all.
No. It was like a temptation, because I'm sure we would sell some. But I think for the concept car argument to really hold, this needs to be the design that is exclusive to tantalum, and that remains exclusive to tantalum.
Certainly.
Otherwise, it will dilute the message. Then you have the concept car, but with the cheaper engine.
Exactly, with a V4 engine or something, and you don't want that, of course. Fair enough. All right, this has been absolutely wonderful. Where does Atelier Wen go from here? You've done tantalum, you've done steels, you've brought East and West together. You've gelled those two philosophies very nicely.
So there's 3 big challenges for us right now. Is Number one, it relates to the watch collection. I think I really want to establish Ancestra, so that means releasing more Ancestra,
sure,
and eventually reaching the stage where we have like an evergreen range of Ancestra in
sure,
the same way that we have for Perception.
mm-hmm.
I also want to keep on developing Perception, so there will be new
Sure.
perceptions coming up,
Yeah.
maybe new materials, maybe new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it, to be like a fixed thing
Sure.
that doesn't evolve.
Got it.
We also need to release new models. Like we need to release new collections.
Sure.
We're still not at the stage where I think the collection structure is mature, so we
Sure.
need to keep on working on that.
Yeah.
We have a really cool project with a high-end independent watchmaker.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be also something else, and that maybe will be the concept of the concept, if you may.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite an important challenge. The
Sure.
second one is about retail, where we want to keep on developing retail.
Lovely.
We see that it works, so
Yeah.
I think we need to put more efforts into
Sure.
this.
Sure.
That's very important. And
Yeah.
the third one is really like how we build the cultural relevancy, and I think that's a mixture, that's an aggregate of so many things all
Sure.
together. Maybe it's through collabs, maybe it's through partnerships, maybe it's through design. I'm not sure. I think it's really a lot of factors coming in, but I think we need to keep on pushing that, so that to people we can be okay. We are the great watch brand from China.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that barrier has already been surpassed. I think it's all about getting more eyeballs and more customers in to enjoy these watches. How's the brand doing? A, in China, and B, in Paris.
So China is quite a big market for us, but it's very different. It's 80% a retail market.
Sure.
We do very few direct sales in China because we're not present on the right channels.
Yeah.
We don't do marketing with their own marketing channels, so it's mostly our retailers buying watches and selling them. But they do well, especially in the south of China. They are pretty good.
Sure.
In Paris, we don't sell too much in France. We don't have retail presence.
Right.
The French retail market
Right.
is a bit unique,
Yeah.
and I think as we increase ambitiousness and
Sure.
thus pricing of the watches,
Sure.
it's quite important, especially for maybe more traditional customers,
Sure.
which there is a lot of in France, to be able to see and try the
Absolutely.
watches first.
Mhm.
And you can't do that in France.
Fair enough.
Sometimes I meet customers, but not all the time. So,
Not all the time. No, fair enough. I mean, that's a very, very mature market, and it's difficult to sometimes to kind of get the right message across as well. At the same time, there is a consistent trend of upward pricing in your watches, in your collection.
And I think then people want to see them, especially in Europe.
That's
I think like someone buying sight and scene, even a $6,000 watch, that's a very, very tough proposition. In the US, no problem. They are used to it. In Europe, no.
It's a different market altogether.
So
any plans of coming to India?
Of course. I mean, India is always on the radar. I think India is one of the big future trends.
Sure.
So no, we need to. We're always thinking about it. I think we need to hurry a little and make it
absolutely.
happen.
This has been a wonderful episode of Dive Into the Industry. Robin Tallendier from Atelier Wen, everybody. And thank you, Robin, for your time.
Thank you so much, Karen. Thank you so much.